Guys, you have to respect the environment, because this Earth is just one Earth. So we just have this one planet. So we need to take care of it.
I'm Asia, and you're listening to Rethinking Climate. Today, we will be interviewing Vahram. You work in the environmental field, you have quite an extensive biography and experience, but you will tell us also about your fight to stop Amulsar's gold mine that is polluting the land nearby. To speak a little bit about your background, you worked towards the establishment of the network state between Armenia and diaspora. You are an entrepreneur, you're a human rights activist, globetrotter. You focus on social innovation, disruptive technology, and climate change. And of course, you're a climate reality leader as myself, and that's how we met, so that's very nice. You founded I4th in 2016, where you developed new business models. You're also a researcher, so you studied in Armenia and in Canada, and for your research and publication, you've won quite numerous awards. And you also added a fun fact when we were talking. You play chess professionally. That's really good. So thank you for being with us today.
Thanks to you, Asia. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to have this opportunity to talk, to deliver my message to people who are interested in climate action. You introduced me quite well. I am Vahram Ayvazyan from Armenia. Well, I traveled a lot, and I would basically work on projects related to human rights, environmental issues, indigenous peoples issues. I could basically understand that the humans in general, I mean, throughout the world, face similar problems. It's you think that humans are very different from each other, but then you see that the problems they face everywhere are so similar to each other.
Which actually brings us to my first question. So you spoke about an important environmental case. We're all very similar in issues that happen in our country, but you in particular are fighting one in yours. So in the Amulsar's gold mine, there was a peaceful revolution in 2018. People stopped. It was a peaceful blockage position in front of the mine. So there's an ongoing online movement. There's a particular hashtag. Our listeners can go and check it out, Save Amulsar. There's a petition with over 30,000 signatures. So what can you tell us about the case, and what are the updates?
Well, that is one of the most pressing issues, I mean, in Armenia. In general, not just an environmental issue, but in general, a socio-political issue. The 2020 war in Artsakh, in Nagorno-Karabakh, actually cast a shadow on it, but in general, Amulsar is a key political, not only environmental, but political issue, because it is not just about the environment, but it is also about what belongs whom, I mean, because the people after the independence in 1991, when Armenia became independent from the Soviet Union, the declaration of Armenia's independence says that the land belongs to people, Armenian people, and then it turns out that it doesn't. So that is a big issue here. And during the previous governments, Serge Sarkisian government, they gave a concession to this international Lydian Armenia. They always, from Lydian Armenia to Lydian International then became a Canadian company. So it's so interesting when you get into it. So you see a maze of different things happening there, and you get lost there. So what they do, because they are offshore company, and you know what offshore companies do. So basically, when Nikol Pashinyan, the incumbent prime minister, came to power in 2018, so thanks to people's help, actually, I mean, people felt that they have the necessary know-how and capacity and strength.
But he had promised He had promised to save the mine in his
Yeah.
political campaign. Okay.
Yes. And then they thought that the time had come, right, to deliver their message. So what happened then when he came to power? It turned out that he wasn't. I mean, keeping his promise. Actually, there was a halt to the mine, you know, but in general, I mean, he didn't stop it, you know. I mean, he could and he didn't, and there are people who justify his actions, you know. There would be international court decision, blah blah, this type of stuff. But in general, I do blame him because he needed to deliver a strong message that I represent people and people don't want this mine to function. So I represent them and this mine will never function anymore. I must say that during the Soviet Armenia period, when Karen Demircan, late Karen Demircan, who was a national hero of Armenia, during his period, there were rumors that the Soviet wanted to mine the site, but Karen Demircan did his best to stop it, or he could do that. It was very difficult, you know, to go against Moscow, but he did it. And anyway, this Pashinyan's regime came to power, and then, you know, I mean, the story, they invited a special company called LR to do this analysis research, whether the mine will harm the environment or this stuff, or Lake Sevan, etc., or the spa town Jermuck. All this.
There is data. There is data to prove that it's polluted. Okay.
Yes. But in general, what I want to say is the most important issue here is the lack of political will. I mean, the government of 2018 had the resources to stop it because Nikol Pashinyan, when he came to power, he had maybe 94-95% popularity. Imagine. So who could go against him, right? No one. So, but then it turned out that things don't work that way, and then people continued blocking, and you know that the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development went out of the project because they saw that the project is against their values. Anyway, so it was last year when I started, working, seriously on it, because I saw that the people, the Amulsar environmentalists, so people suffer a lot. Why I hadn't, acted on it before, because I wasn't in Armenia, I thought that they know more than me, so they have the necessary skills to continue the fight, and I didn't want, to be someone, okay, he's from Al Gore's climate reality project, etc. So I didn't want to intervene. But then I saw that they need people, and of course I started, getting into it, and I saw that the problem is actually not only within Armenia, but it's geopolitical, and it was a discovery for me. And I sent a letter, open letter, to Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, telling him that the Foreign Office is not doing well in Armenia. Instead of campaigning for sustainable jobs and closer ties between the Armenian people and British people, they are doing the opposite, and they are harming the very soft power of Great Britain in Armenia. And people, especially Amulsar people, think that the Great Britain is the country behind it, right? So I basically sent a message to Boris Johnson telling him that, you see, so what your Foreign Office is doing against the Great Britain's interests. So that was, and then I sent this letter to British Parliament, House of Representatives and House of Lords, and then Al Gore's climate reality project leaders helped me a lot. In publishing vastly about this case, especially in Italian media, and I think I could make noise. Which was of good impact.
But what results have you seen from this mediatic impact?
Well, the problem is that when these publications, came to life, Nagorno-Karabakh war started, and then Amulsar was left behind. I mean, the issue of Amulsar. When in August I was publishing about Amulsar, all people were interested in it. But when on September 27, we got an attack from Azerbaijan and Turkey, and also during the war, I must say this too, so the people can know the truth. During the war, Azerbaijan and Turkey used, weapons. Prohibited weapons like phosphorus, which harm the environment in Nagorno-Karabakh. So I must say that people need to act on this too. So because when you use this type of weapon, they don't understand that this type of weapon will harm themselves too, not only us. So that's crazy. So I cannot explain it to myself. How can one use a weapon which will then harm themselves? So I cannot get it. It is like you bomb you use an atomic bomb next to you, right? So it will so it's crazy. Yeah. So people were focused just on war, and me too. I was focused on the war too, because Amulsar was not the pressing issue anymore at that time. So I think until now, the problem is that until now Amulsar is not the most pressing issue, because we have a lot of problems because the war ended. I mean, there is a ceasefire, but there is no agreement. And the problem is that it seems to me that the war will continue, which is an unfortunate thing. So people are focused on it, and they don't feel the current that they felt, for example, last year in July, in August, in June, or in 2018, people were very passionate about defending. But still, there are people, I mean, the core team of Amulsar defenders, so they are still there. So they say they will go till the end, and that they will defend it. And what I want to say, actually, in Italian, in Nuova Ecologia, the published article, my interview there, I said there that the problem is not just environmental or political, it's also financial. So because we don't know where the finances would go, because it's a huge mine, it has huge resources, but then you get some, I mean, small amount of money to the budget, and where the other money goes, you don't know. So that harms the very interest of the Armenian people, and I think that also makes a major role, for example, personally to me, to stop it. And I must say that unfortunately, many Armenian previous government stakeholders and nowadays, I can say, that's a rumor, so I cannot confirm that there are people who within this government too, there are rumors, just on rumor level, that have interest in the mine. And also there are a lot of rumors around Armenian President Armen Sarkisian, who people say that who also has interest there. And I mean,
so what's happening now is it completely legal in the sense the company, for instance, the Canadian one came to Amulsar. So, but it is legal what they started at least to do, correct? So, but do you think that then it's about the laws applied, or even like relationships? So you were talking about political relationship between the UK. There are some relationship between the EU, and why is environmental aspect like this one always sort of pushed aside as if it were not political and financial?
So basically, it is not legal because of the fact that it doesn't correspond to the Declaration of Independence of Armenia, which was adopted on August 23rd, 1990, when Armenia became independent from the Soviet Union, which says that the land belongs to the people. And Lydian didn't go and consult with Jermuck people, local people, or Gandevas people. So, which means that they violated the law, national Armenian law, as well as the Aarhus Convention, right, of respecting local peoples before you go and mine some site there, right? So that is a legal thing, and also there is a danger to the Lake Sevan, and Lake Sevan is not only Armenia's wealth, it is also an international, the global lake, to put it that way. I mean, That's why I think that the people throughout the world will need to act on this, because Amulsar will harm also the ecosystem, which will harm the huge, area, the Middle East or the South Caucasus, all that stuff. So that's why I think both legally and environmentally it is not justified, and politically too, because the previous government, which was a corrupt government, South Caucasus regime, so they just gave this concession. I am sure that they got some stuff, money or something like that. I cannot confirm, but because the court will confirm that, but it seems to me that it would be that way. It was not based on a socio-political consensus among the Armenian people, and also especially local people. So that's why it is also against political mosaic of the country. And about the geopolitical relations, EU, UK, and all that stuff, I do think that the United Kingdom and also the European Union, they need to restart their relationship with Armenia, especially after this war, because they need to see that people's voices must be heard. Local people's voices must be heard, and this is my message to the European government. So you guys don't think that this is okay, you can do whatever you want, and people will accept it. No, people will not, and people, thanks to God, people are resistant around Amulsar, and I do think that we have to build a new level of relationships between EU governments, between United Kingdom government and Armenia, not only Armenian government, but Armenian people, because in the end, it is the people who relationship with each other, right? Not just the governments.
And of course, the interest of the people are what we think would come first, but that's not always the case. So since you've done a lot of advocacy, it's not always easy to put yourself in a position like up front of, it being interviewed and being outspoken of what is the actual truth. So what advice can you give as a better form of communication when we have to be outspoken about something that not necessarily would be comfortable for everyone?
Well, I think that when one feels that he or she is right, he or she needs to continue talking about it, delivering his or her message about it. So that is a key thing to remember about, because even if you don't have followers, the truth will follow you, because when you follow the truth will follow you. So if you know that the thing that you do is the right thing, then you will get a result, definitely. My advice would be that never get afraid of talking about problems, because in order to solve a problem, you need to address it, right? You need to talk about it. So if we don't talk about Amulsar, and there are a lot of other mine issues in Armenia, not just Amulsar. Amulsar became so prominent because of the size, its size, and the amount of the investment around it, though I don't believe in that amount. So because people say the 400 million, 500 million dollars, which I don't believe. I don't see that money. Where is it? So I don't see, because Armenia is a small country, so you could feel 400 or 500 million dollars, right? You could feel that. So I don't believe in it. Yeah, that's why it became, it took a momentum, and it became popular among people. But there are a lot of other issues in Armenia. Environmental issues. Yeah. And I trust Armenian people, the power of local people, who will never allow it. Because if you do that, you will harm a huge ecosystem, as I said. Spa town, Jermuck Spa town, which is, I don't know, it is one of the most important places in Armenia to be in. So a tourism place, it's a health resort and all that stuff, Never, anywhere in the world, never ever get afraid of others telling you, don't do that, you don't have the chances. You always have the chance to go forward. So keep moving forward, everyone. For the environment, there are no borders, because if something happens, for example, in Mozambique or in Australia, it also affects us because the environment is one ecosystem globally, so it affects everyone. So
That's a very good point to make, Ed. I think I agree with all you're saying, and that's also the reason why we're here today. It's sort of the shared belief that so many others, unfortunately, do not still believe in what you're saying. Although science, first of all, science has proved it, and we speak still of a future possible deadline. But in my opinion, it's about today. If we don't act today, I mean, we see issues today next to each other, and you see them more than even us. I mean, in Europe, a lot of the conversation doesn't really happen because we're sort of protected by the privilege that we are surrounded by. And it's, if we don't reflect upon how that hides about the truth, that we still are polluting with our companies and so on. So I think that what you're saying is very true, and I'm very glad that you're saying that. But it makes me wonder, what advice, again, would you provide to those who say, I don't really care? So, and if you do provide that advice, then as well, especially for Amulsar, what can we do to help you?
good. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for offering help, Asia. Actually, for advice to people who say that they don't care, actually, I will make a comparison. Okay, so guys, you are afraid of coronavirus. There are a lot of people who are afraid of coronavirus because its impact is short term and it kills, right? It kills some people and it doesn't kill others. But its impact is short term, so people are afraid and people started acting right on it. So now people need to understand that the same applies to the climate change and the environmental issues. Because if you keep polluting, I mean contaminating, I mean the air, I don't know, the area, the environment, then tomorrow it will come and kill you. And you will, we will not talk about just cancer, but I think that we will have new diseases, new illnesses in the world because of this lack of control on what's going on throughout the world. And I would say, and then it seems that it is not somewhere; it is here next to you. That's it. That is the thing that people need to think about, and they need to act. But it is not difficult, to act on climate. You just need to install that mindset in your brain, and then after that, you will see how easy it is. You will see how easy it is to act on climate. How easy it is to take care of the environment in general and of your local area. So it is easy. It is not a big deal. Help that I would need. Actually, I would need advocacy. I mean global, raising awareness globally. So people, I mean global decision makers, people who take care of the environment, who are passionate about saving the planet. I mean, I would like them to act on Amulsar so that Amulsar never becomes a mining site, because I think that if Amulsar falls, if I don't know, somewhere in Italy mine falls, or somewhere in the United States another thing, so you see, and people will stop caring about it, and then one day we'll see that there is no sun and there is no air to breathe. So that's why I would ask for help from people globally. So act on it. Just raise global awareness. Use hashtag Save Amulsar, and also press on your governments and decision makers to act on it and to speak up in parliaments and in think tanks and in public spaces.
I have just one last question. So it's, before I was smiling when you were saying about that we all can do something about it, but it reminds me of an interview I had on this podcast with an old colleague of mine, and she's now a PhD student studying the psychological part behind climate change. There's a lot of discussion that individual action brings anxiety to people because there's a lot of responsibility placed upon ourselves to do something. So what tip what do you do? What is it about social media? Is it about signing petitions? What is it that really makes a difference when it comes to collective action, so that if we do want to act, we don't feel anxiety, or we just end up not doing anything because it's too much, you know?
That's a wonderful question, actually. You made me think. Thanks a lot. Well, I think the most important issue here is to find the key words, key problem, which make people, wake up. And then you build a structure, just one structure, how they can work together. Amulsar has done it. I mean, people in Amulsar, they did it. So they thought that Amulsar will harm everyone. So they could work on it. So they build the problem. I mean, they could find the biggest problem. And then they build the structure. So what we need to do, we need to get together and we need to block the road, for example. So that's a structure. So, and it cannot be, I mean, it is not one person, so they can get away from him or her, and then they can continue mining the site. So there are a lot of people. That's why it is difficult for Lydian or for the Armenian government to do it, because there is a structure system, because it is very difficult to fight a system. So it is very easy to fight an individual, but it is very difficult to fight a system, and that's a system. So we need to build a system, but to build a system, you need to find a key problem. You just use social media, you use mouth-to-mouth technology, you use flyers, you tell people, okay, guys, you see, if they mine Amulsar, no one will come to Jermuck, for example. That's Patown. Okay, that's a message, right? Okay, and it threatens people. It makes them fear, because they were used to accept people in Jermuck, and it made them happy, and it also their profit. Right? It's also their profit. So it makes them wake up. Okay, what we need to do. So what is a startup? Startup is something like you find a problem and then solution, and then you answer the question how, right? So the same applies to this. I mean, movements. I mean, environmental movements. You find a problem, key problem. For example, in Italy, you have a pollution issue. For example, in Rome, right? What do you do? Okay, guys, if we don't act now, it seems that we will have, this amount of deaths, right? This month and that month, you need to play on real numbers. I mean, you will see, deliver that message. Okay, you see, if we don't do this, we have to face this and this and this. So people can understand, because if you talk general stuff, they will not. So if, for example, if I go to an Armenian village and they'll tell them, the planet, we need to save the planet, no one will care about it. But if I go to an Armenian village and tell them, okay, we need to save your village, this environment, they will care. So you need to be precise, and you need to think globally, but act locally, So you need to build that system. I mean, how you build the system, you just find a problem and then the solution. Solution can be different, I mean, you just use social media, or you go and block a road, or you send a message collective. I mean, petition or collective message to the government or to international organizations, or you sue, them in a court, or there are a lot of, different technologies. So I think the most important issue is to show them that the problem is related to them.
It is. And it's quite funny that I learned that trick when I was taking a business course, where you would think if I have to present something, it's about how important it is for them. And it's definitely insightful that this should be applied to, cases and advocacy and environmental movements in this sense. So thank you very much. It was quite inspiring for me to listen to your story. I will make sure through our platform to get as many people to know about your story and help out. I think it's essential also to then realize how much in our own country there could be an issue that not many know about. So very much. So those who listen to us, you can find more information in the description. Rethinking Climate is on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And to the next episode. So thank you again.
Thanks to you.